let's get into it. We are day 4 business training. I wore my business suit. Everyone can see it. Isn't it lovely? Because everyone says I should wear a suit when I'm talking about business. Who cares? What we're going to do today, guys, is we are going to go through a webinar first. Okay. And then we're going to break down everything about your business. Who's familiar with MOS, minimum optimum service? If you're in the 100K, you've heard me talk about it. Today, we're going to look at something called AMOS, which is abnormal MOS. Okay. It's to break the rules of not only therapy, but therapy business so you can start to stand out. Okay. We're going to go through a webinar first. I've got a little quick video of Elon Musk, who's going to tell you more about business in about 3 or 4 minutes than what a guru could probably teach you in years. Okay. And then we're going to look at everybody's business, all the parts of your business, break them all down, AMOS the hell out of everything. This is really my version of mindset. Who likes all the mindset stuff? Pretty cool. Most people are interested in that. I'm not interested in suggestions, unconscious mind, subconscious mind, higher. We're not going to talk about that. If you guys would allow me, are you guys just happy to go 100% logic for today? Because I want you to see how, and I used to be like this too, how we use logic as our last ditch effort when it should be first when it comes to business, structuring your business, working with clients. Okay. So let me share my screen. Okay. Everyone just turn your camera off for now. This is just an overview webinar for now. Then we've got a whole worksheet to go through. I'll make sure everyone has the worksheet very, very soon. I need to turn my camera off. I'll go full screen. Fritz, can you just let me know that you can see the screen, please?
All good.
Excellent. I'll go full screen here. Okay. Why can't I get rid of that? Oh, there we go. Oh, that's not any better. Oh, that'll do for now. Okay. Let's get into the, like I said, overview, and then we'll have a quick chat about it. Then we're going to do the worksheet because there's several exercises we're going to do with this. Okay. So this is reinventing your MOS, breaking the status quo. This is how you go from thinking about building a 6-figure business to how do you go beyond that? How do you differentiate in an industry that is oversaturated? And can we break the rules so you can further create things in your business and get to that end result quicker? Well, the only way to do it is to break this status quo that the whole industry is living through. Okay. So let me show you what this is all about. At this stage of your therapy evolution, you now have the ability to heal your clients very, very fast. We've got ACH and MAC and all the demos that we've done. So now we must match this with a new abnormal MOS. So minimum optimum service, which in classical terms in 100K, least amount of time and effort with clients. That's why ACH works so well for the quickest breakthrough. Okay, MOS, minimum optimum service. So with an abnormal MOS that breaks the status quo and creates the new measuring stick for your business. Okay. The status quo means this. It's the current accepted rules of the industry in transformation. The current status quo and accepted rules of transformation right now is scripts, NLP, can't be any less than 6 sessions, have to do audios, have to do workbooks, have to. But if that was the case, why are so many therapists still studying things? Why are so many therapists still sucking when it comes to working with clients? So the current status quo has defined a box that most are caught in and will never escape from. Not only therapy, but it's also their business as well. Status quo is basically the same, constant, basic, identical, carbon copy, normal, monkey see, monkey do, zombie following zombie, therapy business breakthrough model. Everyone is doing the exact fucking same. Even when the evidence suggests that even though what they're doing, if everyone's doing the same, the majority are still having to work a full-time job and they're not willing to look at the evidence. They're not willing to use logic. They run their therapy and business model based on emotions and what other gurus have told them, even when the evidence doesn't support it. Always remember this, guys, when you come into business, normal gets normal. If you do the same thing as everybody else and expect to have a different result, you're crazy. That's the definition of crazy. So abnormal gets abnormal, and ACH and MAC creates an abnormal therapeutic transformation. It breaks all the rules. Everything we do in ACH goes against what everybody else is talking about and doing. Abnormal breaks the rules and formulates a new reality. So same with business. So let me press play on this just to make sure this sound is good. Can you just let me know that you can hear it, Fritz? And then I'll put it back to the start.
And then
I think it's also important.
I can hear it.
Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. So let's go from the start here, guys. So what this is a interview with Elon Musk, who is explaining how he broke the rules of the car industry to become the richest man in the world. Now, what does this have to do with your therapy business? It has everything to do with your therapy business. You'll learn more in business here than I think you could do like a diploma in business in university. Pay attention to what he's saying. You have access to this video as well. Let's see what he has to say. Oops.
And then I think it's also important to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. So the normal way that we conduct our lives is we reason by analogy. We're doing this because it's like something else that was done, or it's like what other people are doing.
Me too type ideas.
Yeah, slight iteration on a theme, and it's kind of mentally easier to reason by analogy rather than from first principles. But first principles is kind of a physics way of looking at the world. And what that really means is you kind of boil things down to the most fundamental truths and say, okay, what are we sure is true, or as sure as possible is true? And then reason up from there. That takes a lot more mental energy.
Give me an example of that. Like, what's one thing that you've done that on that you feel has worked for you?
Sure. So somebody could say, and in fact people do, that battery packs are really expensive, and that's just the way they'll always be, because that's the way they've been in the past. And you're like, well, no, that's pretty dumb, you know, because if you applied that reasoning to anything new, then you wouldn't be able to ever get to that new thing, right? You know, it's like you can't say, oh, you know, horses. Well, nobody wants a car because horses are great and we're used to them and they can eat grass. And there's lots of grass all over the place, and you know, there's no gasoline that people can buy, so people are never gonna get cars, right? But people did say that, you know. And for batteries, they would say, oh, it's going to cost, you know, historically it's cost $600 per kilowatt hour, and so it's not going to be much better than that in the future. And you say, no, okay, well, what are the batteries made of? So first principles would be to say, okay, what are the material constituents of the batteries? What is the spot market value of the material constituents? So you can say, okay, it's got cobalt, nickel, aluminum, carbon, and some polymers for separation, and a seal can. So break that down on a material basis and say, okay, what if we bought that in the London Metal Exchange? What would each of those things cost? Like, oh, geez, it's like $80 per kilowatt hour. Mm-hmm. So clearly, you just need to think of clever ways to take those materials and combine them into the shape of a battery cell, and you can have batteries that are much cheaper than anyone realizes.
So what can we get from that, guys? Let me talk this through. So what Elon Musk is talking about is, instead of just, for lack of better words, agreeing with what the industry says, even when the industry can see that things need changing, instead of agreeing, why not create something new? Why not break the rules? So what he's talking about is, everybody says a battery, no one will buy a battery operated car because historically batteries in a car would cost way too much. But that's just what the industry believes. Doesn't mean it's correct. So what he's done is looked at what the battery was made of and all the constituents and ordered them in a different type of, in a different order, looked at what they're really worth, as he said, on the London Metal Exchange, bought those things, put the same battery pack together and realized that it was like 1/8 of the price. But he's also saying that no one would ever, or the industry will say, no one will ever buy a battery operated car because fuel injected cars that run on fuel, are historically better. They're more popular. And everybody laughed at him when he had this thought. But there's a reason why he's now worth $184 billion, because he broke the rules. So what if we spend our time today looking at what the industry says, business and also transformational wise, what the industry says should be done, break that all down to what is really necessary for your clients and just do that. Hence we MOS things, but now we're going to AMOS things, abnormal MOS. And it's going to help everybody in business, especially when if you listen to enough social media, everybody says you need everything. You have to have this. You've got to get professional headshots. You've got to have every certification. You've got to have an office. You've got to learn to speak on stage. You've got to be able to tell your story. You've got to have this script and this technique. There's a whole list of 300 things that the industry says you should have, but is that the case? And the reason we need to change things, because all of those people that have all those things are suffering just as bad. They have no business. They have no clients. They cannot get quick transformations. So if we do the same thing as everybody else, we get the same. So let's look at this as a niche analogy based on what Elon Musk was talking about. I got this blurb here from Google. I typed in how much does a hypnotherapist earn? I looked it up on Google, and this is what one of the quote unquote top schools says about what their program will give their hypnotherapists. Niche analogy. On average, a good hypnotherapist will only work around 15 to 20 hours per week. Please remember that part there. Our graduates typically begin at $150 per hour. As they build their practice and reputation up, we see them lift their rates. Most charge anywhere between $220 and $250 per hour, with some graduates now charging $395 per hour. And everybody just believes this. Every hypnotherapist believes this because a guru said it. Because maybe that guru has their own training school, they have a big social media following, they wear a hat, they wear a suit, they're on stage, they have massive social media followings all over social media. And just because that guru says that's the way, everybody believes it. But here's the reality. This is what really happens behind the scenes. The reality is 20 hours worth of work would only work out to be about 1 or 2 clients of about 4 hours total worth of work, plus 2 to 3 hours worth of prep. Why? Because this is a script-based school. The remainder 15 hours is networking, making logos, making products, free sessions, talking on stage, getting headshots, building funnels, building websites, all the things that are never going to get clients in the first place. So just because this is said to be the reality, this is what their graduates go through, this is what it looks like. Our question to this school would be, what are the success rates of your students who follow this? But no one wants to ask that question. Out of 2,600 strategy calls that I've done personally in the last 3 years, this is pretty much the percentages I see. 70% of the industry is earning between $500 and $1,000 per month, operating from the above analogy. So while here, people might look at this and go, wow, I'm going to have 15 to 20 hours worth of clients. And if I charge $395, let me actually work that out. Let's say 15 hours. Let me get my calculator. Remember, they're on an hourly rate. If I get 15 hours, they're believing that's 15 hours of client time. Clients will come kicking down my door. Times $395, I'll be earning $5,925 per week. But there is so much missing in this information. How are you going to get those clients? How do you build a business? What is your niche? You cannot earn $5,000 a week on this above analogy. It does not work unless you have somebody that is feeding you clients hand over hand. The ones that are not getting these clients, when they go to run their business to get the clients, this is what they're taught to do. And everybody just fucking believes it because a guru has said so. So out of 2,600 strategy calls, 70% of the industry is earning $500 to $1,000 per month, operating from the above analogy, okay? Not first principle. 20% are earning between about $1,000 to $5,000 per month, stretching this above analogy. 10% are earning nothing, operating from analogy and emotion. The analogy of marketing everyone is following, like I said, is business cards, networking, building locally, low prices, Facebook ads, funnels, et cetera, et cetera. And for those who've been doing those things that are now in our program, that's the pain you felt. So what if we stop listening to what these gurus say and go look at first principles, look at logic, and everybody's going to do this for their business today. So the analogy of my niche, let me give you an example. Amos. I realized very quickly that no one wants hypnotherapy sessions or packages. Okay. They want a fast result, but the industry said it cannot be done that way. They said ACH can't work that way. I had to break all the rules and I ACH'd everything. I MOS'd everything and set out to prove this idea with clients. That's the key word here. I proved it with clients. Then go out and just say it with no proof. I'm using the exact same materials, just like Elon Musk did with the battery, as the rest of the industry. I have nothing new. I'm not including anything new. I'm using the very things they have access to. I'm just ordering them and reconfiguring them in a different way to suit what my client needs and wants, but also what my business requires of me. If you look at the whole industry, they reason by analogy, even when the results of this thinking proves negative. Hypnosis is the way it is, always will be, and always will be. Okay, it's always been that way, it always will be. As you guys have found out, you were talking about that before, Maya, you're getting strife from psychologists and psychiatrists who say it cannot be that way, don't show testimonials. Why? Because in the background, they're looking at this and saying, wow, how are you getting such quick results? Because that's not right, because it's always been this way, it always will be this way, and nothing can change. They also say the hypnosis business is the way it is. Earning $1,000 per month, there's a lot of gurus that say that's as good as it's going to get. You can't make $5,000 a month. You can't make 20. It's impossible. What do you think happened when I showed proof of our students earning more than $50,000 and $60,000 per month? Everybody came at me and attacked me. Called me full of shit, called me a liar. Even when I was showing them testimonials and student testimonials, these same people went out of their way and said that we hired models for these student testimonials. We've had other gurus and other training schools who use what we talk about and say, don't do it this way, and spend their whole time teaching their students and just basically giving me grief about it. Why? Because they haven't figured it out. They can't do it, and they're stuck in that old analogy. So when everyone says you can't make a lot of money as a hypnosis business because no one will pay for expensive hypnosis, that's the way it'll always will be. So when something new comes out, everybody attacks it. But it's this new thing that reshapes the industry. Milton Erickson did it. Elon Musk is still doing it. Jeff Bezos still doing it. Michael Jordan did it. Tiger Woods, Usain Bolt, Dorian Yates. All the leaders of the leaders in the niche and industry could not follow the same rules as everybody else, broke those rules, reconfigured everything, and are now the richest people and the most successful people known in their industries. So your abnormal MOS, when creating your MOS, do not build from analogy. And we're going to do this all as a group today, guys. We're going to break down everything to its bare materials. Point these materials towards the real truth and the desire of your clients, then rebuild it in the most efficient way. And if you've been through the MAC training with us now, plus ACH, I've already done that for your transformations. You are no longer required to stick to the old rules of, it has to be 3 sessions, it has to be 6. You have to give audios and homework because your client's mind likes repetition. All of those rules are out the door now, and we've proved it time and time again. So thus you create something new. Your MOS is to break down the result, how you get it to its raw components, which we're going to do as a group, without emotions, analogy, or opinion. Okay, so how do we get this style of thinking? How do we block out the emotions? How do we stop listening to what gurus tell us? How do we stop falling for those traps? Well, let me show you how to do this. This really comes down to new thinking, or what I call clean thinking. This is the important part, guys. Look at what you've learned and become biased to what is said to be the truth. Question your own beliefs that are creating the box you are defined by. If you are stuck in the box that nobody will pay you $1,500 per session, that needs to be broken. Not because I say it, because we've proven it to you guys with economics, the 80-20 rule, the AMOS. You have to let go of, well, I can just get qualified and clients come kicking down my door. That's what all gurus say. All gurus say as well, you can build your dream life and your dream business at the same time. That is a flat out lie. It is impossible. Okay, and we're going to define all these things and work out what are you guys living through. Your focus should be on seeing what your clients want. What are the results? By really listening and seeing what they want, not what you want to hear or what you want them to say based on your own biases, but also your own trainings. This is huge, guys. Write this down. I'll take a photo of this part here. Every decision you make has to be logic. Discount emotion, discount bias, discount popularity because your favorite guru is on stage saying this is so. So I'm not a big fan of personal development because a guru can go out there on stage and tell 5,000 people the reason you're broke is because you have money blocks. That's their opinion. That is not fact. Discount popularity of Tony Robbins, all your favorite gurus. Just because they're a guru doesn't mean what they're saying is correct. So-called facts, discount yourself, discount authority unless proven with hard facts. Okay. An example of this. I would see my smokers quit in one session. Literally quit as the symptom, of course. But everyone told me it wasn't possible. They also told me no one will pay $1,500. No one. It's impossible. Never happened. But in order to build the business that I want, it required me too. So I was stuck in between a rock and a hard place. Had I listened to everybody else telling me the same thing, every guru regurgitating the same rubbish, I would be as stuck as they are. We wouldn't be doing this training. It's the same thinking when my clients tell me they cannot quit. That is fact. They're just guessing. That's their opinion. That's their belief. So reconstruct your MOS. This is your entire business based on principles, which is logic, not analogy. Okay? It's not, I'm doing this because it's what everybody else is doing, and that means I should do the same. That's that the zombie following zombie therapy business. Okay? The flaw in this thinking is that there is a high potential that everybody else that's doing the thing you're about to do is doing it wrong because they're following the next person and the next person. It all leads up to the ladder to that guru who wears a fancy suit on stage and said, this is fact, but there's no fucking proof. The industry says hypnosis clients will not pay a high price. And that's the way it'll always be. Then therapists hear this, apply this to every part of their business, and before long, all these false truths becomes the box that defines their business. So we got to have new thinking, guys. I'll show you how to do this. People will pay a lot for my service, as people pay a lot for things of no value. So how can I prove that it's worth it to them? How can I show more value? And how can I educate them by product results on why my price is so high? For those who are in the training business, that's ACH training in a nutshell. How can I provide more value than everybody else at a good price? Okay, so we're going to look at the boxes you guys are defining. We're going to break all those fucking rules. You cannot live by them, because if they're the same rules as Joe Blogs and Jane Blogs down the road who's still working a full-time job but persists that no one will pay a high price for therapy, they're going to be stuck there for the rest of their life. I don't want you guys to be there. So a big one, discount emotions, biases, popularity. I listen to no gurus because the majority are just talking crap. They're just saying whatever they want to say and people believe it. It's like a cult. Unless I can see actual proof of that, I'll listen to that person. When I say guru, I listen to people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. Why? Because they've got proof that their thinking works. And I've adopted that thinking, hey, look, it worked as well. But I'm not going to listen to what a lot of people are talking about unless there's hard facts. Okay? Now, with this as well, guys, put me in the same box. Just because I say it, prove it for yourself. That's what makes this thing so valuable. Everything I say, I'm only giving you what works that I know in my reality that I've seen with fact and proof. But test these theories for yourself. I think you'd be quite surprised. So thinking from principle versus logic. We'll do an overview here. This will be in the worksheet for us to do. We're going to look at what is the current status quo of your niche? What is hypnotherapy? What am I really doing? What is the cost of this problem that people are holding on to? And does this outweigh the cost that I want to charge? How long would I need to spend with this person? Does it fit my economics? It's not how long as my guru told me I need to spend with this person. What is the real number? How available can I make myself to solve this problem? What are the common arguments about my service? This will be a big one for us to work on. Aside from solving the problem, what else do my people want? Speed and results will be one of them. Is there anything else? How will my service be different than what is currently offered? Is what I do similar to others? How, why, can it be changed? And how are we going to change it? Because if it's the same thing, it's the same thing. Who are the biggest influencers in my niche? What are they offering? And is it actually popular? Is it fact? What does my niche need to understand in order to understand my service correctly? My price, the way I do therapy, the speed of it. What do they need to understand? And that's what's going to turn into our social media. How will I know I've got my service correct? We'll go through those questions one by one. The next one thing we'll look at is understanding your bias to the truth. If you are stuck in a box that says it will take 30 days, is this true or false? If you're stuck in a box that you think I need an audio and homework, is this true or false? Or is it just something somebody told me and I'm just going to believe it? Do I need multiple sessions? Can I just get it done in an hour? Okay. If the industry says I need low prices, is that true or fact? Discounts, true or fact? Do I need deep inner suggestions, NLP language patterns? Is that true or fact? Do I have to have multiple certification, true or fact? What are the so-called truths in your industry, niche, the way you operate, the way you think and believe things? And we're out to prove all these things to either be fact, and if they're not fact with hard evidence, we are going to drop them. You are no longer going to live in that box. Understanding your client's bias to the truth. So now let's understand our clients. What do your clients believe to be the truth? We now are out to disprove these things, social media wise. A lot of people out there would not believe that a fast breakthrough will work. Is that their belief or is that fact? If it's just their belief and I've got proof that it will work and it does work, how can I prove that fact? Not just say it, but how can I prove it? Okay. What about lifetime results? Clients might think, well, if I've only got to see you for 15 minutes, is that going to last a life? We need to get out there and disprove that if it's worth disproving. Okay. What does your value disprove? Every client out there buying packages and buy one, get one free and all that. Is that the way it has to be? Is that what people believe is the case, as in your clients? Or do we have to go out of way to disprove that? So what are the so-called truths in your industry, the niche, the way of operation that need to be proven? This is what we're going to spend our time doing. Okay. I do want everybody to please take a screenshot of this. This is in the 100K as well. Take a screenshot of this, everybody. Okay, because we'll always refer back to this. But this is how I changed my thinking from an emotional wreck of a nervous, dorky kid who made every excuse not to do social media, every excuse not to run a business, made every excuse under the planet, got lazy, all of this crappy stuff that I put myself through. This is how I changed myself to be able to do what I do now. Okay. So make sure you got that sticker on your fridge. This is going to be the way you live. We'll go through this and I'll show you the exercises. Okay. Any questions on that? Does that make sense, guys? That's my version of mindset. Okay. Any questions based on that before we get into the exercises? Who thinks right now they have a lot of beliefs that are absolute bullshit? Okay. Who believes they have a lot of beliefs based on, oh, a guru told me I'm just going to believe it because they're popular. They've got a suit. They've got social media. Okay. We need to find out what these things are, because if you don't break them, you're going to live through somebody else's analogy and not pure logic.